So there may be seemingly a slight identity crisis with this channel because on one hand I'm supposed to be solely offering you advice and wisdom from these videos, but on the other hand I'm also sort of drifting into the territory of um, talking about myself and talking about my own life. And let me just quickly close the window because people can hear me. Sorry about that. So, what I've decided just a couple of seconds ago, literally, was why not do both? Why not focus both on the aspect of giving some advice and wisdom, and I have to talk quietly because there's other people in this house possibly asleep, and I also have to I can focus on talking about myself and my own life because I kind of need somewhere to document all of this. Like, I know I'm gonna become a legend and all that, and you don't need to sing praises to me in the future. Trust me, I'm not getting them in the present, but or what would be the past by the time you're watching this, possibly the very, very distant past, where I'm going to be a completely different person or not here anymore. So either one of those. Um, but what I do know is I'm going to struggle to the very end. We're getting kind of morbid here, so let's stay in our territory. Basically, I'm going to be talking. Sorry, I'm becoming one of those YouTubers who's just talking and talking without getting to the bloody point. Like, oh, and here's my free giveaway. Oh, by the way, it's about 4.5 minutes in, and only now you're getting into the video. Just because like half your video was full of garbage. I'm sorry, but it's true. But anyway, this video is going to be how you need to have control only over yourself. And I literally just got this from reading the Daily Stoic for the September 5th, and that it mainly involves just continuing to only focus on what you can control and not focusing on what you can't control. And there's the Stockdale paradox mentioned within that book, From Good to Great by Jim Collins, and it talks about how there was this guy called James Stockdale. He got sort of shot down in the plane, and him and his it might have just been him, I think. He got captured anyway, and he got brought into this prison place where he was tortured for about 7.5 years. And within his time in that camp, he noticed that the people who died first were always the optimists, always the people who said, "Oh, we're gonna be." I'm not making fun of them, by the way. I'm just doing this voice. Oh, we're gonna be out by Christmas, and then when Christmas rolled around, they weren't able to escape, and that put them down. Then by East, they said we'll be out by Easter, okay, and then by Easter they weren't out. So then they said, oh, we'll be out by Thanksgiving, hopefully. And by Thanksgiving they weren't out, and then Christmas rolled around and they still weren't out again after that, and they some of them died of heartbreak, which is it's just what you need to expect in the world. If you expect good things to happen which are not in your control, then you can't you just can't be happy because you're putting your happiness in something you don't own. You see, you can only have your happiness in something you do own. And the reason I'm happy now is because I'm doing everything I can to put the outputs in while also making sure I don't die of a heart attack in 2 weeks, so that I don't overwork my body. Therefore, I'm making a bunch of cold emails, not making a bunch of cold calls because they would stress me out to the limit. And I can't take, I just can't physically take it. I think I'm actually going to, I would end up biting it if I kept going, so I have to stop. And it's not just resistance talking. I've been doing this for 2 months, and my heartbeat is irregular. I'm having like mini panic attacks when I think about even having to do it next week because I'm sort of not doing it too much this week. I'm doing it a little bit, but I'm not doing it much. And only the reminder parts, so I'm not making much of an aggressive advance on it compared to what I did last week. Last week I do 60 to 90 calls, possibly to 100 for the first 3 days. On Thursday I did 120, and Friday I did 150. which were consecutive records, by the way. So I wasn't really inclined to keep going after that because I just knew, I can't take it much anymore. Now, the thing is, I'm controlling my inputs and I'm still happy that I'm working a bit, even though I'm not working completely. And I'm pretty much in a feedback loop now of where it's more difficult for me not to work than it is for me to work. So I sort of had to stop myself from working there past 9 o'clock because I knew my heart's just gonna freaking give out. Like, it's already skipping a load of beats and it's just irregular. It's I'm not even scared, to be honest, because some part of my mind is completely in denial of the fact that I could possibly be at risk of any sort of ailment or death. But I suppose I really should be afraid when I'm saying it logically. But you know what? Being afraid would just raise my cortisol levels even more, so there's no point in that either. The best part is just to stick it out and cut down the work as much as I can. The thing is, though, I'm doing my father's Google Ads campaign, and apparently he's got like 2 queries in the last day possibly from those ads, which I'm very happy about. Like, I am really happy about that because it could potentially mean that the clicks that I'm getting in the ads are actually going to convert, which is great. I'm aiming for somewhat 20% conversion rate and then 5% click through rate. At the moment, it seems like the click through rate is about 10%, which is good because my keywords are high intent, so I have sort of the best of both worlds in that regard. So I've done my research, I've done my homework, and I've really done good in generating a bunch of leads. So I'm very happy with that. But this video wasn't about that. This video was about those evenings when you're absolutely backs up against the wall, nothing is working out, and you're completely stressed out, and it's just a complete nightmare for you. That was basically me, on a minor scale earlier on today, but then yesterday it was bad because I spent 3 or 4 hours trying to get conversion tracking to work, and lo and behold, I still didn't succeed in it. And I tried for another half hour to an hour today, and it still didn't work. 40 or 50 minutes into that, and I couldn't get it done because I've tried everything. I've followed the guides exactly as they went, and it still hasn't worked. And I may have done a couple of extra steps just because I saw them, but then it still didn't work, and it won't work anyway. Plus, Google Ads has changed in the last couple of years, and it seems to just change all the time. So I'm having a very difficult time with figuring it out, and it's just annoying because I can't actually figure out how to track conversions, and my father doesn't have a clue whether a lead came from the ad or not. So it's kind of up in the air, I guess. There's not really much to think about it. So that's basically where I am at the moment. I'm just struggling with this little metric and conversion tracking, and also college exists, but not really this week because this is time waster week where we just go over basically what we're doing for the semester, and now, to be fair, the lecturers in so far now, they seem to be actually pretty competent, and they're able to teach well, which is huge relief because I didn't learn as much programming as I should have last year because the lecturer didn't explain things that well. So I'm glad that it's different this year. And the only thing that I don't like is the fact that when I'm sitting in the lectures, I feel so average. I feel so like such like a little good boy just sitting in there, when just a month ago it was like I was getting stabbed in every direction, making 100 cold calls, being an absolute badass, working towards my goals and actually getting there because literally a month ago I was doing pretty well. You may remember in my previous videos I spoke about how I used to get 2 or 3 meetings a day before some days because people just weren't busy, but now everybody is super busy and I'm getting completely messed up. So it's not really, it's kind of going pretty bad for me, to be fair. So I'm just seasonally inconvenienced. The thing is, though, I have somewhat of a flywheel going on, and by that I mean I have a bunch of guys who know me, like a bunch of guys, and who want more clients, but they don't trust that I don't have results. And I once I do have once I do have a result, at least possibly from my father, then I'm going to be able to show them that, and then they're going to be like, okay, so you can do this, and I'm going to be like, yeah, of course I can. Plus, I never did Google Ads for writers before in my life, and this is how good a results I got with it. So imagine how good I could get with you when I have actually conducted research into your target market. So yeah, I'm pretty glad with that. Checking the time, it's 9:30 now, and it is very hot. It's ridiculously hot. Now it's not that hot, like it's not as hot as the European countries, which are like 37 degrees. It's about 23 degrees, and it peaked at about 26 today, which was pretty high for Ireland. It doesn't usually get that high, and it's sort of random, this heat wave this came on. I don't know why again, but yeah, that's basically it. I had one class today and that was it, so it was a pretty bland day. I just got to go back home, which is alright. I just don't like sitting in class because I'm doing nothing, and like I'm bloody obsessively, compulsively inclined to work. It's not even funny how much I just want to go back there even now, while I knew that my heart couldn't take it. It's like the exact opposite dilemma of what most people experience. Most people have to bring themselves to do work. I have to bring myself to stay here, sitting on my pillow, talking into the camera, and lying down sort of like a potato, just to not actually, die. So it's an interesting situation. But yeah, again, if you want to chat, I don't want to end these videos too abruptly like I did in the last one, just clicking it and then going off. I'm not going to do that now. You can probably see how long the rest of this video is, which is interesting because we're basically having a conversation which is completely one-sided, and yet when it's going to end. I have no idea when it's going to end. Like, I can only know based on a proposed assumption of when I'm actually going to end the video. I could say I'm going to end it at 14 minutes, 15, 81 minutes in. It's not going to be that long. I know it's going to be shorter than that, but it's just interesting. I find space-time interesting in general, not because I'm a geek or anything, but because I just find the fourth dimension of time interesting. We have height, and then length, and then width, and then we have time, and I've already actually explained this in another video, but it's basically the distance between, or the time distance between when I was here and when I'd started this video, for instance. That'll be about 13-minute 55-second time difference, and only you can tell when this video is going to end, but I'm pretty sure I'm going to end it pretty soon now, in fact.